What's going on, everybody? This is an episode from the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast. Do you like podcasts and you want to see the full podcast? Make sure you check out the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast on all your podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, among many others. But you're listening to the episode right here on YouTube, so make sure you hit that like button and below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button to NC Studios and NC Level Up for all your gaming needs. This is the Nerd Coalition. Enjoy the show. We have been watching Dark Side of the Ring, and yes, we there's different. There's a lot of episodes that we got to go. We did, so we have not. This just shows how much podcast time we missed because we didn't do Magnum TA, and we did not do the God. What was the third one about?
Eddie Graham.
Eddie Graham. Did not do Eddie Graham.
That is a sad story. Yeah.
So we are going to review these stories for you guys. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I understand it's getting late, but we're going to do this for this podcast because we just recently saw the Doink the Clown episode. What happened to Doink the Clown?
Yeah.
First off, little history. I liked Evil Doink. I was never a fan of Doink the Clown. When I saw Doink the Clown, I was just like, back to WCW. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit like that. Because, you know, there was that whole gimmick-ass era. And I really ain't started getting into Doink until I got older and started going back and watching the old mid-90s stuff that they had.
Yeah.
And then when, you know, he started becoming a character on 2K, I was just like, okay, cool. So...
Is the character on 2K modeled after this Doink? Like him?
Yes.
Okay.
So, when I heard there was a Dark Side of the Ring, because there were certain episodes I knew about, but I was just like, I didn't know what was coming.
Dark Side of the Ring this season is interesting. I already heard your boy, Marty Jannetty, is in his feelings.
Why?
Because there's an episode coming about him, I believe.
Ooh.
He was like, I don't like some of the comments Chris Jericho made. I thought we was boys, and I'm like, go back into the cave you crawled out of, sir.
Marty Jannetty, that should be an interesting story. I gotta make sure.
Still can't walk.
You just better be covering him admitting the murder on Facebook. I just better be in the episode.
Oh my goodness! But this one, so when I was going into this, I was like, okay, so let's talk about Doink the Clown. Because like, what happened to Doink the Clown? And honestly, other than just hearing the murmurs of the usual stuff, like, okay, it was Doink, drugs, alcohol, died. Like maybe
that was really honestly it, because it didn't have a whole lot of people in this one.
Well, I mean, there was some, you know, some. Because see, here's the thing, I knew Doink was not as healthy, but I was like, I ain't even doing all this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was. So this is the Matt Bourne version of Doink the Clown. There have been many Doink the Clowns.
Yeah,
There's been Dink the Clown.
When you have makeup, you can put whoever you want in there.
Exactly. And then Matt Bourne was more of he was the evil Doink that happened. Then they turned Doink into like just a playful clown for kids. So then that shit ain't work. So
I mean, why would it?
So I was just like, okay, well, let's check this thing out. He was, you know, a second generation wrestler. His dad was he was the son of his dad, who was on the Portland territories. The Tough Tony Bourne was his name. And like I said, these are the territory days. So. Sometimes I miss him, sometimes I don't. You know what I'm saying, to be honest with you. And he made a name for himself in those territories in the Pacific Northwest Wrestling, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Mid-South Championship Wrestling, which is one of the more popular territories for anybody that's going around there. They had Mick Foley in this episode. They were interviewing. They had Hacksaw Jim Duggan. They had both of Matt Boone's wives.
Yeah.
Ex-wives,
ex-wives.
And his daughter. And his...
Was it his ex-wife and the girlfriend? Or...
It was two ex-wives and a
girlfriend.
Yeah, okay. And his daughter. Which we will get to that story. So, as they were talking about, like, Matt Bourne was a good worker in the ring. They said one of the things about him that he was a good worker. And you know, it's funny, when I saw the Doink match, I thought, even though I was like, this joke ass character, they had, back when I was having DVDs, they had the Raw, I want to say, well, either the 1,000 episodes of Raw DVD or the Raw 15-year anniversary DVD, where they put like the best Raw moments on there. So they had them. They put a match in there from, I want to say since 1994, 3, 4, 5. I don't know, one of them, where it was Doink the Clown versus Mario Jannetty.
Oh Jesus!
Just ironic, right?
I said,
so
them up.
Yeah. So, but they had a damn good 13-minute match for it to be on this collection. I was just like, why the hell is... I know it was a moment or something like that. And I was like, wow. That's probably the best Doink Clown match I've ever seen in my life. I was like, I don't give a fuck about him and Bam Bam Bigelow. You know what I'm saying? I ain't getting better than that. And I was like, okay, so now when I was watching this, and he was talking about how he was a really good, performer. Yeah. And even Mick Foley was talking about somehow he was inspired by Matt Boone's styles and things like that. And despite his skills, he had a trouble time holding a job. Yeah. Because he had a very abrasive personality.
Say the least. I was like, bro, is there anything else y'all want to add about this man? Anything at all?
Seriously.
Did he like drinking coffee on the porch or something? Like, they were just like, this man is grating. He was hard to be around. He was really nice for 5 minutes, and then he'd be an asshole for the other 23 hours and 55. Like, damn, I was like, bro, did anybody like Bo?
Yeah, well, they talked to former wrestler B. Brian Blair. It was like, that's a name.
Yeah, that's a choice.
And talked about this instance when they was in the bar with several other wrestlers, because, it was hot. All the boys were there. And then when he comes in there, Bourne looks at him and says, "Hey, yo, man, you messing with my girl?" And Bourne be like, "Bro, what you talking about?" And walked away. As he's walking away, Matt Bourne attacks him from the high, like hits him with a ball something, and takes him down, and they start fighting.
Yep.
And they are sitting there punching, biting, scratching, all kinds of stuff, to the point where Blair ends up on top of Matt Boone, and he bites his lip.
He bite a piece of his lip off?
And spit it out. By the way, the reenactions of this thing
is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Dark Side of the Ring reenactments are one of a kind.
Fucking hilarious.
Well, damn, Mike Tyson.
It should have been for the lip. And you thought that was it, right? And he walked away like I spit this motherfucking lip out. The fight is over.
Like, that was...
I'm about to say, because I would think it's over too. How the hell you gonna curse at me with no lip? Fuck you. Oh, I'm saying, like, how you do that?
That's a lot. Like, bro, what?
But Bourne was like, you thought it was over? He came back and attacked Blair again.
Like that thing in the Martin episode. Where they threw it back in the... That ain't no damn...
This time, Bourne tries to take his fingers and gouge out
his eyes out. This man is not well.
Goes out, and then Ivan Koloff had to come in there and kick off Bourne. He said, "No eyes," as they were fighting. And he said it was like fighting a zombie. They just kept coming. He said, there are some drugs out there that just make you superhuman.
That's what I was about to say. When he was telling this story, and I was like, if this happened the way he said it happened, he was on some shit at the time. Like, some shit.
Yeah. So, then we go to Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, my God.
Now, Mick Foley has already stated on this episode, he says, you have to really be a ain't shit person for a Hacksaw Jim Duggan out to like
you. Yes.
The most positive motherfucker that is probably the rest of the business.
He was on the Junkyard Dog episode 2, I believe. Like, he was such a nice guy.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think I met Hacksaw Jim Duggan once in one of them icons of wrestling type things like that. And I'm just like, he just old silly carry around 2x4. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, ain't looking for no trouble. You know, he ain't sitting there like roadkill looking all pathetic.
Jesus.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I be calling that roadkill hard.
He is somebody.
But Jim Duggan automatically came up there and was just like, are the cameras rolling? Cool. He was a bully. There was...
Fact, he straight away. He ain't come in and try and like couch it a little bit. No. He was just like, no, he was not nice. I was like, damn, bro.
That man came on there with his big age and said, hey, make sure
schoolyard bully.
Said, I ain't like time to try to wait till the camera's on. The camera's on, I'm gonna let this show right there. He was a bully. And we we wasn't getting along. So they had a heel stable that they created with Jim Duggan, Matt Bourne, and Ted DiBiase at the time. And things got heated. Situation happened. They was in Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And they were the heel team. Back then, them territories, as you heard when you was watching the other documentary, that back then, things were taken very,
very
seriously. It's kind of like when they almost killed the Horsemen when they broke Dusty Rhodes' arm in NWA.
That I've heard on the Junkyard Dog one, somebody almost shot the Freebirds.
So that fans is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're dedicated.
And especially back then when the curtain wasn't pulled back, like this is kayfabe. It's real to me, damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So there was a Jim Duggan is leaving, he's going to go up the aisle, and a fan punches Duggan in the face. So Jim Duggan is like, okay, he hits the guy back. Now the guy is down on the ground, okay? And Bourne comes over and he's just like, okay. And kicks the guy square in his face, hard as shit, to the point where they said that the man
his eye popped out. Sir, what?
The reenacting of the whole eye exploded from the head.
That was wild. Again, Dark Side of the Rings. One of a kind reenactment.
He broke the fan's orbital bone, and it caused the pop his eye out. And from then, Bourne was fired from the promotion.
Because why not? At this point, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
There's nothing you can do with that. He takes a job at WWF after this, and he he wrestled Ricky Steamboat at the very first WrestleMania. Let me tell you how I didn't even know that was on the card. let me tell you how when he was like, oh, Matt Bourne was at the first WrestleMania for Ricky Steamboat. I'm like, no, you talk about Macho Man WrestleMania 3, right? No. Ricky, I was like, what? I didn't even know that was on the card. To be honest with you, other than 2 matches, I don't know what the first WrestleMania card is. To be honest with you, it didn't fucking matter. I would say at least to me and stuff like that. So, but he was fired for drug use. QFO, do you hear me? He was fired for drug use. You know, after that first WrestleMania.
See, here's my thing.
Do you know how many?
He had all that on his jacket and still found himself a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you know how hard you gotta be on drugs in the 80s?
I was just about to say the same thing. Do you know how many drugs you got to be doing in the 80s to get fired from anywhere?
Seriously. That's all the fuck they was doing back then. And you gotta be, it's like, where everybody's like, oh, yo, let's just do this line. He in the back like Tony Montana just put the hit, pow, right there in the cocaine, and probably shot up after that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He was really going through it.
Yeah.
Addiction is a disease. And it can grab you.
Mm-hmm. So he was going from job to job. He had a brief run in WCW as Big Josh, more for like his poor days as a lumberjack. That didn't work. And as this was going on, he we hear from his, I don't know, this was the wife he had the daughter with, correct?
No, the wife he had the daughter with is the one right before the girlfriend.
Okay, so there were 2 women on there.
So okay, if it's only two women, it's just
no. I'm saying there was two wives,
okay,
and one girlfriend. The daughter, the I forgot what his daughter's name is. My God.
Yeah.
What? Cause
the daughter comes from the one that he was still technically married to, I believe.
Yeah.
When he went and got the girlfriend, like they broke up, and they were still together, and he went with the girlfriend who he was with when he passed.
Yeah.
I don't know the first lady.
Okay.
I'm not sure where she falls into this equation, but I know what you're talking about. But the daughter is from the second wife.
Okay. Well, they were talking about his drug use at home, how he was abusive. And it wasn't like they were trying to sugarcoat. Like, this is what it was.
They really did not sugarcoat it at all. They was just like, look, bro, he was slapping him up.
All this was Doink the Clown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! All right.
Like
I'm thinking like, did I miss Doink's story? We on to somebody else?
No, this is doing how
Jeez Louise.
he almost missed the birth of his child because he was drunk, and then he came late, but he still made it to go see the birth of his kids, and because he had kids with both those wives, correct?
I can't remember.
Okay.
They only talked to the one daughter.
This is why I wanted to write my notes down.
Look, because now I got a little bit of juice left.
So Vince McMahon decided, hey, we're gonna give this man another second chance, right? Because the second chance at WWF. And when he was in the back smoking a cigarette, I forgot who made the reference, but they said, hey, you look like Krusty the Clown from The Simpsons. Because his hair was all over the place, and he was sitting there smoking a cigarette like this is what Krusty the Clown would do. So Vince had the idea, like, well, we're going to turn him into a clown. Which ended up being Matt Boone's favorite character. And like I said, I didn't, but it's like, oh my God, this is a clown character. This man dead on arrival because, you was fired the first time. Well, this one is like, it resonated because it was an evil clown. And he really enjoyed being that character.
Yeah.
And for that run that he had, like I said, when I seen that match with him and Mario Janelle, I was like, this is actually a pretty good wrestling match here. After he got a win on Crush at WrestleMania 9. This was when they were doing the whole Caesar's Palace gimmick type thing. But there was another Doink that ran in. This is by Steve Curran. That portrayed, that's what the name had here. That caused Crush the victory. He didn't like the.
And he was very upset about that.
Yeah, of how the way the character was going to be going. So he again was fired for drug use because he was really strung out on that shit right now. But Kerwin and Ray Apollo was wearing the makeup, so Doink character continued on television.
Because he knew that you see the writing on the wall. You were in the ring and somebody come out dressed exactly like you. What you here for?
Yeah. Then he ends up over at ECW for a brief time. It's a darker take on the character. They're known as the Born again because his last name was Born. And he was like had like a personality disorder, which he would go from Doink the Clown to the Matt Bourne character. So the WWE would sue so they can so he can stop using the Doink the Clown gimmick. So then he never received any residuals that he said was owed to them. Then he settled. The board agreed not to use the gimmick, and he received residuals every month. So while that happened, then he was really going on the deep end. Start doing the indie kind of wrestling shows, and then when he
in
meets
the gyms,
in the gyms and gymnasiums, stuff like that, where he meets up with Jim Duggan again.
The fucking armories and whatnot.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They was in White Plains, New York, and he was supposed to face Jim Duggan, and they were on there. But Matt Boone gets on the microphone and kind of like runs down Jim Duggan and everything. And then he gives him a stiff nut shot that Jim Duggan sells, and then Matt Boone goes and gets a steel chair, but then Duggan gets his 2x4, and they had footage of him talking about something. I'm saying, are you going to shoot with this or what? Are we shooting?
Yeah.
So Matt Boone, he leaves the ring, walks out the side door, and leaves. And I was like, which goes back to being a bully.
Yeah.
And then, we're going to swing that 2x4 and lay your ass out. And then and he was going to do, then he said Douglas was probably like, he probably still holds of what happened to him with the guy get his eye kicked out all them years ago. So, and Mick Foley was just like, you know how you gotta be really mad to not like Jim Duggan. You know what I'm saying? It gotta be one thing for him to not like you, and it gotta be something for you not to like him. Yeah. It's like, cause you got people like that. It's like, but how the hell? What is wrong? You know what I'm saying, bro? What is wrong? So then, as he's really battling, he was found dead, June 28th, 2013.
Now, this is where the controversy comes in.
Yeah.
Because his daughter wholeheartedly believes that his girlfriend is responsible for his death.
Yeah, she should have said murder.
She said she killed him. I said, oh, well, wait a minute. We'll back the truck up. So, apparently, they were doing drugs. I can't remember exactly which ones, but they were doing drugs. And what did she say? That he laid down and went to sleep. But when she got up, she heard him like gurgling and snoring or something like that, right? And then, but she went back to bed. Now this is the story that was.
It wasn't that he was doing drugs. It was the thing that, so he was living with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Even though you're still married to somebody else.
Yeah. And I don't think they ever experienced divorce.
Yeah, and he had kids with the one that he divorced. So, his girlfriend name was Connie. Mm-hmm. And she said, Bourne was helping take care of his sick mother. Yeah. But he also stole a bunch of her medication.
That's what I'm saying. That's what that's doing. Popping pills then.
Yeah.
He popped a bunch of pills.
She found him unconscious in the hallway of the building, brings him inside, thought he was fine, and he passed out on a chair. So she assumed he was sleeping and she went to bed herself.
And she's like, oh, I heard him snoring, so I thought everything was fine because he snored anyway, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. She said, according to police reports, Connie woke up at 6:30 in the morning. Are you following Q-Flow? Woke up at 6:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Found Matt Bourne gurgling. She called a friend to talk about the situation and went back to bed. At 9 a.m., she called 911. Matt had overdosed and died.
But this is the second, there's another story that she told. Because then when she was sitting there on the show, she was like, oh, I never went back to bed. So how do you explain telling these people that you got up at 6:30 in the morning and heard them and just called your homie and was like, no. Like, how do you, because it's not even a close time frame. It's not like, oh, I got up at 8:15, I heard him, and then I woke up at 9 and he was dead. Like, girl, what? So...
Yeah,
it's a little weird. They cleared her though, like they found that she wasn't responsible for his death. I think they said that they looked into her for negligence and something else, but they found her like not at fault.
So
the court did at least.
Tegan, this is his daughter's name.
Tegan
claims that she said, "Look, that bitch killed my daddy."
Absolutely, she's straight shooter. She ain't even trying to sugarcoat it.
Ain't miss a crack, ain't slide no step. And Tegan's mother, whose name is Michelle, she said that Matt called her the night before he died and said that he was leaving Connie, and if anything happened to him, not to not let it go.
Don't let it go.
So, now Connie claimed that the police force was wrong. And she did not go back to sleep at the find. She said she called a friend first, then called 911 right after. She said she was heartbroken by the death and did everything she could to save him. The death was investigated, but no foul play was found, and it was ruled to be an accidental overdose. Eddie died after what they found later that his heart was like six
like
times.
6 times the size. That's crazy, bro. You know how much space you got to be to occupy if your heart is 6 times its normal size?
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's and maybe it could have been due to the years of drug use. Maybe it could be something he was born with. Like I don't necessarily know because he had a rough childhood, also. But that was the story, the very sad story of Doink the Clown.
Yeah, it was actually pretty rough. I wasn't expecting it to be that.
Dude, that's such a tragic tale, man.
Yeah. I mean,
honestly, a lot of these Dark Side of the Ring stories is real.
But I mean, but
tragedy.
but that's what the whole point of it is in the first place. You know, it's a tragic,
yeah.
tale and stuff like that.